Hey everyone, you've been anxiously awaiting it and now it's finally here, your next video. This is day 4 of the Unit 3 notes on graphing cosecant and secant. So what's important to note about cosecant and secant is that they are both the reciprocal of sine and cosine, which you've already learned how to graph. So whatever parent function values we have for sine and cosine, then cosecant will be the reciprocal of sine and secant will be the reciprocal of cosine. So what I mean by that is when we graphed, we pulled values off of the unit circle. So the parent function for sine was at 0, 1, 0, -1, and back to 0. So for cosecant, it's going to be those same values except the reciprocal of them. So the reciprocal of 0 is undefined. 1 over 0 is an undefined fraction, meaning we'll have an asymptote here. The reciprocal of 1 is 1, so that point will be shared. The reciprocal of 0 again is going to be undefined or an asymptote, and the reciprocal of -1 is -1. So that's where we get this basic shape of our graph. At pi over 2 or 90 degrees, sine was at 1, the reciprocal of sine is also 1. So we have a shared point here at pi over 2, 1. At pi, remember, and at 2 pi, which was the same thing as 0, we have asymptotes, meaning imaginary lines that our graph approaches but never touches because the graph is undefined there. If you remember, at 0, pi, and 2 pi, sine was 0 and the reciprocal of 0 is undefined. You can't have a fraction with 0 in the denominator. And if you remember, at 3 pi over 2, sine was -1 and the reciprocal of -1 is still -1, and so we get a shared point here. So what happens is that the graph kind of creates this parabola shape where it approaches the asymptotes but never touches them. It approaches the asymptotes but never touches them. So this pair of up and down parabolas create the unit circle parent function for cosecant. So it's this shape that will repeat over and over again. So the period for cosecant, just like sine, is 2 pi. And here we can actually see the graph with sine. So in order to graph cosecant, we're always going to graph our sine function wherever we have a midline point. We're going to have asymptotes. Wherever we have a max, we'll have a min in cosecant because it's the reciprocal. And wherever we have a min in sine, we'll have a max in cosecant. And then we'll just repeat that as we repeat the sine wave. So again, cosecant is just the graph in red, but in order to generate it, we'll need to know how to graph sine x, which is why we started with that. So secant is exactly the same, except it's the reciprocal of cosine. So if you recall, cosine on your unit circle are all the x values. So we have an x value at 1, 0, 1, pi over 2 or 90, 0, pi or 180, -1, 3 pi over 2 or 270, 0, and then we're back at 2 pi, which is the same thing as 0, which is back at 1 again. So the reciprocal of these are going to be 1, undefined, -1, undefined, and back at 1. So it will look, again, very similar to cosecant. It's just that our asymptotes will be in different places based on the cosine function. So again, we can graph the cosine function, and wherever we have a midline point, we're going to have an asymptote there. And wherever we have a max in cosine, we're going to have a min in secant. And wherever we have a min in cosine, it will be a max in secant. And you can see that this shape is just going to repeat over and over again. Again, if we go matching point to matching point, we can see that the period for secant, just like with cosine, is still 2 pi. So tomorrow in class, we're going to see how to graph these bad boys with transformations applied as well. But it's always going to be, in order to graph cosecant or secant, we're going to graph sine first, use that as our guide in order to find our asymptotes and our shared points. Okay? Come to class with any questions that you guys have, and I can't wait to practice this with you.